Good. Ready.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanam
Sahanam
Bhunaktu
Bhunaktu
Sahaviryan Karavavahai
Tejasvinam
Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Just like every activity has got is in three gunas, and the consciousness does not have any gunas. And love belongs to consciousness. Enriched love, that's what is basically bhakti, also belongs to consciousness only. So there is no question of any gunas there. That's why it is Triguna Atita. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you are Triguna Atita. Traigunya Vishayaha Vedaha Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Because the Brahman himself is Gunatita, God Gunatita. We all say that. Parabrahman is Gunatita, but then lower gods that are there, that means to say functional level, that they have given some gunas there at that level. So that is there. So gunas come in all the manifestations at the manifested level, everything is in some guna or the other. So therefore it has to be one, not only in bhakti is something to like that, everywhere it is like that. So even the bhakti sadhana also, and the connecting gods and connecting methods, practices, everything evolved from that guna itself. It's not that you don't have to specially, you are not specially doing anything. That's why last time I was giving that in the rural conditions, village conditions, there was so much of tamas that was there. All the gods as forms and all those things have also evolved out of tamas. Whereas the sattvic level, somewhere that in sophisticated places, mantras and chantings and these things, they have evolved. So it doesn't matter how it is there. All these things are guna bandha, that means guna related, but then bhakti itself is beyond all the gunas. Now, we see that this also gunas, that we have seen that uh, your flowers and the foliage, that's what is sattva. Head functioning is some intellectual functioning is sattva, and the other things are the rajoguna and tamoguna. That's what we have seen. That's how these things are divided. Now there you can see that an intellect is something which is at the intellect level, at the rajoguna. Then comes sattva, then comes rajoguna, then tamasguna. That's the reason why he says that uttarasmat, purva shreyaya bhavati. That means to say there is a scope for thinking, there is scope for analyzing, improving, there is a scope for giving it up when the intellect participation is there. So in that sense, he says that uttarasmat, purva shreyaya bhavati. That means to say a person who is intellectual is the one who can think, who can see something better, some improvement or something like that, or what is the purpose. All these questions come up at the intellect level, and therefore that sattva has that ability to ask the questions. Rajas has somewhat closer to that, and tamas is at the lowest level. So therefore, a person who is doing the tamas sadhana, tamas way of doing it, he will be in the tamas. The shreyas, that means to say, what is particularly he looks for useful for him, he does not go by that. Actually, this is a very interesting thing. It is that intellect is the level where you go on constantly trying to improve the situation and improvise the whole thing. Like in any other thing that we do, it the same way that even the bhakti also, that shreyas is that where that there is an improvement, there is a development, there is a growth. Shreyaha bhavati. Though as the sattva itself does not have a quality of freedom. Sattva doesn't have itself quality of freedom because that's also bondage. In fact, on the other hand, when you look at it, this bondage of sattva is much more stronger than the other ones. That's what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, that other practices are like the iron shackles. Sattvic practices are like the golden shackles. And then how can we give up this gold? Let us keep it because it looks very nice. So we try to hold on to it. So this is the problem that is there in the sattva also. That's why there is problem at all these levels. Only one ray of hope. Uttarasmat, Purva, Shreyaya Bhavati. The Shreyas comes because intellect can be activated in the case of sattva. In case of tamas, it's not possible. Therefore, it is easier. In fact, there is a very beautiful story in children's, what is that, Panchatantra, something like that series of stories. Very beautifully said that there are 3 fish which are caught in the net. And when the net is there, immediately this sattvic fish is something which says that, okay, net is there, still yesterday there was nothing like that. Today suddenly net has come. So let me be careful, not get caught up into that. So he avoids that net. Whereas Rajas gets caught up in that, but then he sees that they draw the net. He says that when the fish are drawn out of the net, at that point of time, suddenly he leaves the net and then jumps into the water again. So that means after a struggle, the tamas gets caught up it because he is not knowing anything, that he just gets caught up in the net itself. So that's how the stories also say that how an intelligent fish is something which has really escaped itself. So these are all the things which show that Uttarasmat, Purva, Shreyaya Bhavati. Till that time we have seen last time. So this time the sutra, 58th sutra, Anyasmat Saulabhyam Bhaktau. Of all the other methods of sadhana, paths of bhakti, bhakti is something which is extraordinary. Karma, jnana, yoga, japa, tapa. There are so many methods by which that people try to reach God. Of all these things, bhakti seems to be the sulabha, easiest method. In fact, there is another statement also which the Shastras, Puranas say that is that Bhagavan Nama is easier in the case of Kali Yuga. It is easy to cross over because basically they thought that other yugas, people, Raj Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, they're all the tools which can be used. But in the Kali Yuga, that he is not fit enough to use these kinds. It means he doesn't have the intellect, he doesn't have the work. It is not so. Actually, that's not the way that bhakti is something which is easier in the Kali Yuga. In that sense, it is not said. The idea is that in Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, compared to that in Bhakti Yoga, what is that which makes it better in Bhakti Yoga? Saulabhyam, Anyasma Saulabhyam. Sulabha, that means to say, Labhate is that you get it. And here, Sulabha, that means you easily get it. What is the way that you easily get it? Because the other things, other methods of practices, that there is a prayasa, there is something that you have to put an effort in that. You have to do the shrama. And before that, you also have to practice certain disciplines in your life so that you do the practices. And when you do the practices, then at the end of it, that you get it. Like you sit down, meditation, for that meditation, what are the things that necessary? Early morning, Brahma Murta, this, that, so many things that are there. You gather all that ideas and then do it. Whether it is Raja Yoga, same way Karma Yoga, go to the hardships and try to work and all those things. So there is a lot of things that you do so that against your own natural tendencies that you do it. So it's against natural tendencies. And the more against natural tendencies, more hardship it is. So therefore, that there is prayasa, there is prayatna. That's what in the case of other techniques. There is an effort involved in that. Whereas bhakti is supposed to be effortless. It is prasada. Bhakti is something that you get it. It is not prayasa, it is prasada. Not only that, there is another very important idea that in bhakti they say it is the other methods are sadhana. That means to say there is a practice and then sadhya is something else. The end of it that you get sadhya. And usually the example that they give is that the seed has a tree in that. And only thing is that you have to put all that and then you have to till the land, put the seed and then take care of it, all those things. When it take all those things care, then the plant comes up. So tree comes up and tree gives fruit. So there's so much of prayasa that's involved. There's so much of effort that's involved. So much of input that is there. And this is what is called as krishi. It's a very beautiful word. Krishna, karma comes from this krishi and same root that is there. You are supposed to do it. Whereas in bhakti, it is called as upasana. Upasana means you sit there, you be with that. You see, it's such a beautiful feeling that you have, you are being with that. It's like the way that a child is with the mother. Normally what happens in the function someplace that the child is so lovely, so cute, and everybody handles the child. And then the child is also happy, going to everybody, goes around. After suddenly some time, the child realizes that mother is not around and feels panic, feels insecure, and then start crying. However much the others try to pacify, that the child doesn't do all that, nothing, is panicking. And then when the child starts crying, panicking, immediately mother comes forward. Mother comes up and say, hey, why are you crying? I'm here. And then the child jumps onto the mother. Finish. Nothing else that you need to do it. In fact, even the tears running down the cheeks do not even dry up, but you can always see the child already back into the smile. It just happens because you are with that. We have been doing all the, and in order to get to the mother, whatever that prayasa the child does, trying to look around, trying to find out where the mother is, who is that, all that. Is that giving the result? No, it's not giving the result. The mother comes forward. Mother hears that and comes forward. And that's what is happening. So that is what essentially what happens is that bhakti is like a prasada. Bhakti is that he appears. In fact, when the child, how the mother looks for the child, you mean to say that the people have taken the child away. Mother does not know it. Mother knows about it. Mother is following it. Mother is occupied about the child. In waiting, let the child be happy and the others be happy with the child. So this is happening. But suddenly that the child is missing, then mother comes. Mother did not miss the child. The same way that this is what one of the bhaktas said so beautifully, that the bhakta, the individual, is going around thinking that his happiness is here and there, and he gets, he pursues this, he pursues that, and he feels that he's doing this, he's doing that, and then he's getting all those things. But suddenly he realizes that that's not the life, and he has to be with the divinity, he has to be with the God. The moment that he thinks of it, like the way that the child starts looking at it, immediately mothers come running. So that's why it is said that before you search for the God is already searching for you. And because that God wants you to be there, therefore that you develop the search for God. It's not otherwise, you would not have developed that. Before the search for God comes within you, he must have already created that whole ambience around you to see that it happens. And at once, the moment it happens, from that moment onward, is only upasana. You are with God. Upasana, that means staying with the divinity. And where does it come from? Where does it come from? Is it not? Is he coming from somewhere else? A mother at least has to come from somewhere else to the child. But here, God doesn't have to come anywhere else, but he is there with it. So therefore, basically, he reaches himself with it, and he finds out that the same Paramatma is there, same Jivatma is there, it's all one and the same thing. It's a nice, wonderful Milan. Actually, that's what is upasana. So, in order to get that particular upasana state, that bhakti, the bhakta does not claim anything. That's why it is called as, what the others do, it is sadhana. Somewhere some sound is coming. Okay. So, bhakti is therefore is prarthana. It's a very beautiful word, prarthana. Prarthana is that you don't go to the God for so many, the various other methods that I said, that sattva, rajas, tamas, they all have some agenda behind it. So they ask for something. They read God so that they ask for something. And then you get that, then the demand goes to something else, another object, something like that. So now actually God has become reality. God has not become reality, but what has become reality is that you ask, God will give you, that becomes reality. You get it because that you asked. So God is special favor for you. That's why he gives you. So the asking becomes more prominent than the God himself. In fact, there are some religions which even claim, saying that God is like a servant for you. He does for you. So this is what is the arrogance it builds about. The prarthana in the other Gauni Bhakti, Gauni level, Guna level, that I want this, I want that, I want that. Even it is supposed to be Swarga, even it is supposed to be heaven, even if it is supposed to be peace of mind. All these things are nothing but that we are asking for something. There's prarthana. But what is meant by this prarthana in the case of Bhakti? The prarthana is that you are not asking anything, but there are three different levels it is there. One is called as that you do not have something, therefore you get it, you ask for it, and then you are getting it. And this is what is called as abhava. Abhava is you don't have. And then you ask for, oh God, give me this, give me that. And this is what is abhava state. And that is what is the lowest level state. Then what happens is that he feels satisfied, he feels happy with the world, everything is there nice. So this is what is basically, he calls it as bhava. He is good. But then what is bhakti? Bhakti is beyond the abhava, beyond bhava. It is called as ahobhava. Ahobhava is that you are so excited, you are so overwhelmed that he gives you much more than what you asked for. He already gave you. You didn't ask for anything, but then he gave you. I don't know whether I deserve it or not. So this aspect comes into the bhakta. Therefore, that he lives with the God himself. This is what is ahobhava. And that's what is the idea. He says that prarthana. And he feels that he is there with this is what is upasana. You stay with that. Another very important aspect, this is what actually you can see in the case of Ramakrishna Paramahansa and Vivekananda. Vivekananda was, suddenly his father died. He was the eldest of the brothers. So naturally, the whole burden of the family was on him. And his father did not leave any funds for the family, excepting the debts. So wherever he would go, he had to face the people that they asked for the money. So Vivekananda was torn between all these things, and he was still a student. Second year student of BA, so that's what he finishes that. He could not even complete BA. He was called as FA those days. And no money, how to take care of the family. He was going without any food many days. In fact, he would tell lie to mother, saying that I am going for dinner at my friend's place. He invited me. So that at least if he does not eat food at home, the mother can feed the others better. He would go somewhere and have some municipal tap water, sit in a garden and then come back, sit in some park or something and then come back. And then say that I had food. Mother also knew about it, but mother was so helpless, she could not do anything. This life was going on like that. People used to make fun of Vivekananda, saying that, look, what happened to you now? You used to always go behind Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and he talks to the Divine Mother, and you say about all those things. Now, if he's so close to Divine Mother, let him ask for you. That what all, the job, riches, money, whatever it is, that you can cross all these situations, cross over all these situations. When people said repeatedly that kind of thing, Vivekananda also, Naren also thought that yes, he should also try that. So he went to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, young boy, 14-year-old boy, went to Ramakrishna and said, Thakur, why don't you pray to the Divine Mother that all my problems are solved, my family is taken care of and all that. Thakur immediately, with a smile, he replies to Naren, yeah, that's a very good idea. And why don't you do one thing that, I tell mother from here itself, because I can't come all the way to temple, where Ramakrishna says in Dakshineshwar, and then the temple is a little far away. I said, I cannot go all the way to the temple. I stay here, but here itself I can tell Divine Mother, she'll be waiting for you. You go there and ask for whatever that you want. Mother will give you. Oh, so simple. Naren never thought that Thakur will agree with this so easily. And then when when Thakur said this, Naren went all the way to Divine Mother, that is Kali temple, looked at the Kali's image. When he looked at the Kali's image from top to bottom, the Divine Mother, that's Mother all pervading the universe and all that he thought. And then such a huge, such a big mother, such a extraordinary, wonderful force. And I'm asking for something like this, then he did not feel like asking. He just bowed in front of her and returned. But returned with a dull face. And when he came back, Ramakrishna Paramhansa asked him that, Thakur asked him that, so did you ask mother, did you go to the temple? Yes, he said, yes. Did you ask mother? He said, no, I didn't ask. You wanted job, you wanted this, you wanted that, freedom from all the debts and all that. Why did you not ask? He was sitting quiet. He was sleeping quiet. He said he could not ask. He was keeping quiet. So what a fool you are, that mother is waiting for you. And she wants to give you all that you ask for. But if you don't ask, what can mother do? So go now, go and ask. She almost pushes Naren to go to the temple. Again, this time Naren goes to the temple, Kali temple, and comes back. When he came back this time, he was happy, jumping with joy, and he came back to Thakur. And Thakur said, wow, you look to be joyful, so that it looks like that you have asked Divine Mother. He said, nodded his head, yes. Then Thakur asked, what did you ask for, Divine Mother? What kind of things that you asked? Naren said, I asked Divine Mother, give me love. Give me love. That's all. Thakur replied, I knew that you cannot ask for anything else. I wanted to test you. That's why it is like a test for you. So that is what is the level that you reach, to say that, God, you have given me everything. Without even asking me, you have given me so many things, including Thakur. You have given all this wonderful thing. This is enough for me. I'm thankful to you. This is what is Ahobhava. Near in the Ahobhava, you're in the ecstasy of happiness. So that's the reason why in bhakti, that you are not asking for anything, and whatever that you get, you have not claimed, therefore basically that you feel that you have been bestowed with that. This is what is called as prasada. Prasada means basically that even that small little, whatever that you get it is something so much more that you did not even look for, ask for, and that's what you get it. So this is what is the difference between the prayatna and prasada. Anyasmat saulabhyam bhaktau. That's what is the sulabha. It is sulabha because that you're not asking for anything. And all that what you look at is that how rich that you are. You're already the richness that is there within you. That's what is the idea of bhakti. And bhakti, you feel that you are bestowed with something which is the best in the world, already that is there with you. And you don't have to ask for anything. Normally, I share with one of the small little stories that is there of a saint in a hermitage. He was sitting in the middle of the night near the window of the hermitage, and it's a very small little hut kind of a thing. There is nothing excepting that window, and near that there was a bench, and he was sitting on that bench, overlooking through the window, and there is a lake in front of him, small little pond. He calls it as a lake. And then in that lake, he was watching the moon being reflected on the full moon night. Though the lake was small, the moon was so big, the lake was reflecting the whole of the moon. Not only the moon, but even the sky that is there around the moon, the lake was reflected. How beautiful it is there. And even though the lake was so small, was reflecting the moon, such a huge moon, it did not disturb the lake. Though it is being reflected, the whole image of the moon was there, but in spite of it, the lake was not disturbed. On full moon night, when you look at all these things, how beautiful it is. The full moon is there being reflected by the pond, and the sky is also there. The saint was sitting and overlooking through the window, as if that the wind god also does not want to disturb the whole ambience that was so beautiful, blow so gently so that he will get the wind, but at the same time, the ripples are there are no ripples created on the water. Imagine how beautiful it is. And when all these things are like that, actually the time also stopped, as if time is not moving, nothing is moving on. When this is a situation which is going on like that, a robber who is passing by suddenly looks at this particular hut which is open, no doors at all, and there seem to be no sign of anybody. So whatever that's there inside, he can lay hands on that. So robber enters into that particular hut and wanted to get into whatever that is possible. After all, in a hermitage, in a hut, what is there? Nothing is there. So he looked around. He was so totally disappointed, but because that there was nothing. In that disappointment, when he was going out at that point of time, he turns around. Two bright eyes were looking at him. A robber, however big a robber he may be, the moment he finds out that two eyes are looking at him, you can see that how much he becomes nervous. He could not take one step forward. He could not breathe. He was just stood there, nervous, because the saint suddenly turned around and looked at this robber. And two eyes that he finds out, the moment he sees the eyes, that he became nervous. But the saint, on the other hand, smiles and says, "What a wonderful day today." The robber didn't understand what this man meant. But this man said, "What a wonderful day today. Such a beautiful day. Particularly that I only hear that robbers enter into palaces. Robbers enter into palaces. And today, I saw that you entered here into the palace and entered my hut. And for a moment it was looking like a palace because you entered here. And when this looked like a palace, so I felt like I'm an emperor here. What a wonderful feeling that you have given me. Nobody has given me this feeling that I'm an emperor, and you gave me that. And on the other hand, you are called as a robber. How can I call you robber? Because robbers are somebody who take away all the valuable things. And you are leaving all the valuable things around for me. And then you are going away. My lake, such a beautiful lake, and the moon that is being reflected, and the gentle breeze that's coming, and this wonderful night that is there. All this you are leaving behind and going away. Why should I call you as a robber? You are not a robber, but people call you a robber. And I'm a simple mendicant here, but you made me feel that I'm an emperor. What can I give you for such a gift that you have given me? I don't have anything to give you. But still, I can give you something. And the man looks at this robber and says that, "Look, you are planning to go out into the wilderness, into the outside. I am sitting under this roof, pretty. Whereas you are going out, you feel the cold outside. Therefore, you need a protection." So the shawl that he was covering himself, he takes out that shawl, gives that robber and says, "Please take this, go away, go with this." And then The robber looks at the saint under the shawl that there is nothing else other than his kaupina. And such a man, he has given even that shawl to him. See, this is what you feel, that you are rich. This is what is Bhava. Bhakta feels Bhava because he doesn't claim that, yeah, suddenly you made me to feel that God is everywhere. Do I really deserve it? That's why Anyasmat Salubhyam Bhaktav. Pramana Antarasya Anapekshitvat Swayam Pramanatvat. It's a very beautiful statement, and a sutra it is. Antarasya Pramanaha Anapekshitvat. That means to say intermediate steps. In all the other techniques of yoga, there are intermediate steps. That means you achieve it, you get it, and then you gain that step. You go beyond that step. So therefore, basically one step after the other. Like, for example, what we have seen in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras also, that first you have what is called as the Prajnata Samadhi, there also Savitarka Samadhi, and then Savichara Samadhi, Nirvichara Samadhi, Sa-Ananda Samadhi, then it comes to Asmita, and then go beyond. So step by step they are there. Yes, in every journey that there are so many steps. In Raj Yoga that you have achieved so many things, so therefore you have completed asana, body level that you completed, then pranayama, then you go to the meditation. Karma Yoga also, you did so much of work, and then now you have done to the next work, next level. So there's always basically that antarasya pramanaha. That means to say, in between that there are steps. Like the way from Bangalore when you are going to Mysore, you always ask that, did we cross Biddi or did we cross Mandya? So like that, there are some intermediate steps. It is necessary for all the journey, any journey that you make. So, antarasya pramanaha anapekshatva, that means to say in bhakti, it doesn't expect anything. Antarasya pramana, when you are making a journey. In bhakti, as I said, that there is no journey that you make. You suddenly realize that the veil that was there covering you, between you and the God, is gone away. And then suddenly you see the God. God is there everywhere. There is no antarasya pramanaha, that's not there. Pramanaha, pramanantarasya anapekshatvat. It doesn't expect anything. In fact, there is nothing like an expectation. Expectation is that apeksha is expectation. Anapeksha is not expectation. Apeksha means basically that I do something so that I get something. What I get something is more important than what I do. I go to the God also expecting that he will give me 1, 2, 3, 4. God is not important. That's what last time also I said. In Guna Gauni Bhakti, that what you get is more important than the God himself. God becomes secondary. God is unwanted. If without God that you can get it, that's fine. In fact, last time also I gave that example saying that even the pujaris also, that they fix that what God can give you what. So other gods cannot give you that. Only this particular God can give you, that God can give you. So this is how basically that you are looking at it. Anapekshatvat, pramana, anapekshatvat. There is no expectation at all. And what happens is that whenever you are getting something, that's actually fulfilling your ego. It's satisfying your ego. You learned so many books, you learned so many texts, you have learned so many Upanishads, you have learned so much of knowledge. So all that becomes your ego. Everything embellishes your ego. So many karmas that you have done, activities that you have done, and all that becomes like your ego. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4. You claim that. Your claim already is basically satisfying your ego. All the other people that they tried, they can claim. That means there is what is called as eligibility. And you look for your eligibility, you have your credentials, you set for credentials. Bhakta is somebody who doesn't have any credentials. In fact, the moment any credential means, basically it is the ego, the satisfying ego. Bhakta doesn't have any credentials. In fact, therefore, he himself is not there. Every step that happens in bhakti, out of love, any step that you take is actually dissolving your ego. So, pramanantarasya anapekshatvat, swayam pramanatvat. That means to say, the very step that you have taken in the form of love, in the form of all the way from love to bhakti, anywhere that you take it, it is nothing but you are giving up your ego. You are dissolving your ego. Then only they can see the divinity. Otherwise, how can you see the divinity? As long as that you have that ego, through the ego, when you see it, you only see the stone image. The ego is not there, then only the prana pratisthapana takes place. Then only you see the divinity. And even that God that you see in the stone, with your ego, it is your own image of God. It is not anybody else's image of God. It's your own image of God. You picturize that God in that way, say therefore that you see that. Last time also I was saying that the person who came from North India, where the images of God are made as the marble stone, because the marble stone is available there. Whereas in South India, granite is very good. Therefore, granite stones are there. You see the black images. Somebody from North India was telling that, why do you call this as Krishna in Udupi? He said, why? He said, there's a black image. We have Krishna who is totally marble. Go to the Vrindavan, go to Mathura. You see the marble Krishna. That's what is real Krishna. This is not real Krishna. That means you also see in that image your own God. It's not that God that you see. We have got the ego of God. God also has become part of our ego. So it's ego satisfying. Ego is to be satisfied. And ego is something which is responsible for the pramanaha, antarasya pramanaha is nothing but embellishing your ego. What I have done it. I have gotten this. Today I can do this. Now I can sit down for meditation for 4 hours, 3 hours. So all these things are nothing but antarasya pramanaha. They're all nothing but your ego. Pramanantarasya anapekshatvat. What a wonderful statement. He says that one sweep, he takes away all that. Then he says that, you mean to say that there is no pramana? That means to say, just do it. There is no result. There is no end point. There's nothing like that. Often people think that pramana is not there, then we don't do any activity. It's not the question of pramana not being there. Swayam pramanatvat. That's why he gives that pramana. In the very practice itself, there is pramana. In the very aspect itself is pramana. Swayam pramanatvat. And what is that pramana? Now he says, what is the kind of pramana that you have? Swayam pramana, shanti rupat, paramananda rupatva. Now, this gives us one more important idea, saying that what is that which is ashanti? Every ashanti is nothing but ego. Every ashanti is ego. There is nothing which causes our ashanti other than ego. And the more and more that ego gets dissolved, gets eliminated, shanti will set in. It is shanti rupat, paramananda rupatva. And whenever this shanti is there, paramananda happens. You see, that's what I normally give in my talk, saying that your very nature itself is harmony. That is what is shanti. Your nature itself is happiness, bliss. Your nature itself is health. That's what you are. Healing is your own ability, your own nature. It's not going out anywhere. And bhakti will take you directly into that. Shanti rupat. Parama ananda rupatva. What is that parama ananda rupa? Normal ananda is based on this object, that object. And the moment that object is not there, then the happiness goes away. And object is there, as long as that object is there, happiness. Now, what happens with us is that a person who is with ego, then he attaches himself to the object. And therefore, more and more objects, somehow he feels that object gives ananda. Object gets you ananda. This is what we are convinced about it. That's what all the advertisements also say. Look at all the advertisements. Even the simple thing that a Bournvita advertisement says that, yeah, you have Bournvita. Chai advertisement. That's what is very fascinating. A great Pandit like Ustad Zakir Hussain comes onto the scene and says, Wah, Taj. Happiness is in Taj Chai. Everybody goes behind that Taj. So this is how Paramananda is that Ananda where it will not leave you. Just object is there, Anna. You are still there. Happiness is there. But then you did not run away from the object. Object is there, object is not there. Your Ananda continuously remains to be there. Listen to the music, you feel happiness. If there is no music, you may not have that expression called as, but you are happy yourself. This is what somebody said very beautifully. When you're the object outside, that there is an ecstasy. When you are saying a dance, and when you are listening to singing, and when you are having a nice, wonderful festival meal, at that time that there's an ecstasy that is there. But when it is not there, what happened to this? It's an ecstasy, that whether that word is there in English or not, but that ecstasy is there inside in the seed form. Not only the tree is there in the seed form in the case of plant, in the case of a seed, but the same thing, your happiness is also there in the form of a seed form within you, because your very seed itself is Brahman. Your very seed itself is Atman. So that is what is Swayam Pramanatvat Shanti Rupa Paramananda Rupatva. So this Paramananda Rupa indicates that state, that where Ananda is not outside, Ananda is not in the interaction with the world outside. Because if the Ananda is there in the interaction with the world outside, then that Ananda is supposed to be coming and going. Outside is providing, there is Ananda, otherwise it's not Ananda. It's not like that. Ananda is there within you. That's what is Paramananda. Often people think that the gap between the Ananda and Paramananda is one of the degrees. It's not one of the degrees, but one of the this state of experience, one of the states of experience. That's what is the difference between the Ananda and Paramananda. It's like the way that Ananda is like the way that the light is. There is a source of light and that light throws, so therefore things will appear clear. That's what we are familiar with. But Paramananda is like the darkness. Darkness does not have any source. And you cannot take away the darkness. You can only bring in the light, and when the work is there, but the moment that light is gone, again the darkness remains as it is. And Paramananda is like that darkness. It's always there, doesn't have any source. And every difference merges into that. That's why it is called as Paramananda. Paramananda, there is no division. So an object is there, an object is not there, you are happy. And you are blissful. You are always there. Let me give you one small little example, which, there was one saint, our teacher, he was there in Himalayas, and he happened to come to Prashanti. Those days, there was nothing in Prashanti excepting that only the building that was there, Vasishta, and outside Vasishta, there were a few trees. We would always sit under the tree, and then blissfully we sit there. There is absolutely nobody was there excepting that, Shastriji's aunt was there, Shastriji was there, myself, and a couple of others. And having nice meal, prepare, and then sit in this openness, have some little conversation, whatever it is there. And there is nothing else to do, excepting once it becomes dark, we go inside, because during the night time, there may be wildlife that is there wandering around. Simple, wonderful, beautiful life. And then we had that life for almost like 10-15 days he was there. And then he has to catch a train to go back to North India. So I said, Swamiji, we have to go to Bangalore, stay for one day there, and do a little shopping, and then we'll put you into the train. He said, Swamiji said, no, I can stay for one more night here itself. I don't want to go to that city. I mean, imagine those days, Swamiji was rejecting that city those days. There was no traffic at all those days. If probably today's city, he would see that he would never come to city at all. So he says, "You're taking me to the city. You taking me to that crowd there. I'm happy here. I would like to stay here." No, Swamiji, we have to go to the city because we cannot go directly from here to the railway station. Because so many, conditions that are there, transport conditions. Those days, taxis would not come. We have to catch a bus to go to the bus stand. And from there, we take an auto, taxi, something that we can go. So I was telling all those things. Swamiji to the point of crying. Then we put him into the cart, bullock cart, and then driving to Jigini before we catch the bus. Swamiji was almost like crying. But then we put him into the bus. And then the bus was taking to the city. When he went into the city, he looked around the whole thing. He was so enjoying it. He was amusing at the whole thing. Wow, this is so beautiful. Lights are so good. This is so good. That's so good. Roads are so good. He's saying, Swamiji, you said you didn't want to come here. You are almost like not happy coming here when you were there in Prashanti. But now you seem to be really excited, equally happy. He said very beautifully. He said that there it was something there. Here it is different. I was enjoying the peace there. I'm enjoying the traffic here. I was enjoying silence there. And I'm enjoying the noise here. He was equally happy. Children are always like that. They're happy all the time that Paramananda is there behind it. Object is there, other object is not there. It looks like that they are after the object. Many times, some of these people, when they are such a higher states of consciousness, you feel that how much that they are hooked on to some particular object or the other. They want only this, they provide this, they provide that, so that when they look at that, how beautiful it is. You mean to say that when it is not there, they were not in a state of ecstasy? They're all the time in the state of ecstasy. Paramananda is that. So once you reach that state of bhakti or state of divinity that's there within us, and at that point of time, love within us, Paramananda is there all the time. Ananda is always there. That's what is Paramananda Rupatva. In small little activity, there is Ananda. In simple, you are showing your love for the child. Somebody shows love to you, that you always find that Ananda. It may be simple love to all the way to the temple, divinity, God. All these things, that's the same Ananda that is there. One is not there, he doesn't miss it. One is there, that he is extraordinary, he feels that. There is nothing like that. It's the same thing that is always there. That's why he said that every moment for him is like a celebration. Every moment for him is like, every place that he goes is like a tirthasthana. Everything that he does is like a puja. There is nothing other than that. Is it not the same way in the world outside? Paramananda, when you have that, you look at the trees, they are also like you are. Your part, your extended part is those trees. So the trees gives the flowers, the trees gives nice, wonderful fragrance, and that you see that you are giving the God the wonderful fragrance, wonderful flowers. And this is what is the idea called as the Manasa Puja. When you do the Manasa Puja, you see that the river is flowing to touching the feet of the God, and the sun rises to give the light to the God. Everything is happening, nothing but the divinity. You are enjoying that divinity. That's what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa also gave that expression. Sandhantar sandhani tere, nahi kal sandhi kachupa. I don't even know when the Sandhya has come, Sandhya has gone. When do I do Sandhya Vandana? My Vandana did not stop because that this is morning, this evening, this something like that. It is starting at a point of time. My life started with Vandana. My life culminates with the Vandana. That's what it is. The life itself is a wonderful journey of puja that we are going. So that's why he says, Shanti Rupat, Paramananda Rupatva. What a beautiful sutra that he gives. After that, the next sutra, it brings about another lokahano chintana karya nivedita atmaloka vedatvat natat siddhau loka vyavharo heya kintu paratyagaha tat sadhanam cha karyameva. In fact, the other day that Vishakha Hari was giving this idea because her teacher, Krishna Premi, he was giving this idea. He says that there are two different paramparas that are there. One is called as the bhaktas, which are supposed to be dasa parampara, and the other is supposed to be tyagis, who are supposed to be sadhu parampara. There is no difference between these two. Some become sadhus, some become dasas. The simple difference that he says is dasas are in the world, whereas sadhus have left the world, have taken to sannyasa. There is no difference between them. There is nothing different actually. So this sutra gives us that aspect of it, what is called as Dasa Parampara talks about it. And this is what is the next three sutras, or four sutras will give us 61 to 64 sutras, basically will give us the exceptional, extraordinary, wonderful quality of that Dasa Parampara, which is supposed to be the Bhakta Parampara. So we'll stop it here. Next time we'll take up that and we'll continue with our discussions in the next discussion. We'll stop it here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You can unmute and ask any questions you can ask.
You can unmute yourself and ask also.
Or you
Yes.
can write down in the chat. Yeah.
Dayananda ji, you have unmuted. You want to ask anything?
No. I'm enjoying the talk. Thank you.
Right.
I think all are in Ananda state only, Raghuram.
Yeah. Paramananda state. So
Hmm.
beautiful. Yeah, lovely sutras, lovely explanation, lovely order that Narada puts all these sutras. Okay, I think we'll